welcome back. Episode 6. We got our guest here today, Mr. Sir Crow. He's going to talk to us about medical gameplay. We got a couple questions lined up for him, ready to roll. Again, this is my co-host.
OG here. What's up, everybody?
And Crow, you want to introduce, kind of tell a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, I can. So I have I play Star Citizen, obviously, but I play many other medical roles in other games and stuff like that. So I just like seeing the health bar go up, basically.
Yeah. Loving the support role, right?
Yeah, I'm loving that. That's my life right there.
Yeah, you and I we play Exo Primal as well. That new game that just came out, and he's a good medic, I'll tell you that, especially on that game. I tanked a tank the other night. That was fun.
I'm pretty sure you didn't let that go.
Do what?
I'm pretty sure you didn't let it go either.
No, I did not. It was great. I'm pretty sure that guy's still pissed about that.
And Crow, I remember you telling me about how you're actually thinking about getting into EMT IRL. Is that still in the works?
It is still a progress. There's some stuff going on right now that's halting it, but it is still in progress to the best of my ability.
That's awesome, dude. That's awesome. Hell yeah.
That went down the road pipe.
Starting her off right.
Yeah, I know, right? So, that's going to be interesting. So you're just all around a facet of like a support kind of person when it comes to, I guess, IRL and in game. That is dope. So as far, Crow, as medical gameplay goes wise, that's currently available in the game, what would you consider to be your most favorite part of that?
The injury system, really.
Okay. You want to elaborate on that a little bit?
So basically, the injury system, why I like it the most is most of the people look at it as from 3 to 1, and I still get those questions of like, "Oh, is 1 the lowest?" No, it's the worst. And if you look more in depth, you look
Anyway.
That's so random, but alright.
I like golf.
But no, it's just like if you look more in depth into it, there's more than just the 1, 2, 3 injuries.
Me personally, I had known nothing about the injury system, the different medications. I knew about the red pen that fixes it. You know what I mean? I had no idea. And then
it's just the top layer.
Yeah, and then we meet Crow, and Crow did an event couple weeks back, and it was crazy. I had no idea. You could overdose people.
Mm-hmm.
Now I try to overdose Vintage every time he gets in my ship because I think it's funny. But yeah, it goes. It's crazy in depth, and it's really cool. Actually, it shows. I think depending on tier injury, it'll tell you like what is going on with everything. It's really cool, man. It's really cool.
I think, Crow, didn't you say something was up with like you could check the Moby glass and like your little outline of your person? Doesn't it like actually like change colors? Can you go into that a little bit?
So basically, I like to call it the F1, the F1 check.
Mm-hmm.
So that little human thing, people think, oh, I have a tier 3 injury, so I'm going to see that my leg's right on there, and they're like, oh, why is it all blue still? So that's not telling your body's status of injuries. That's actually your muscle status. Because when you get an injury, your muscles get damaged. So if you don't have an injury, but you took damage and you haven't healed yet, if you hit F1, you can see that graph is now going to highlight either red, orange, yellow, or green. Okay. And depending on the color, from green to red, depending on the damage of that muscle, is like, oh, I know where I'm about to receive an injury if I don't heal anything.
Okay, so that's you cool. Could you prevent yourself? Like, is it? Let me rephrase this then. There's a way to reset that though, right? Like, so if you're at yellow, you could do what to reset that to blue?
Any damage like stage of the muscles is fine. Literally just one red pin, and you'll see it go back to blue. It just takes a simple heal. That's it.
Okay, so that'll reset it. Okay, good deal. Good deal.
That is cool. That is cool.
So what else with the? Because I know you've done a lot of testing since you've been with us in the org and everything like that. What were some of the other things that you found with how in depth the medical system goes, damage wise, I guess, or however you want to put it?
Damage? So, well, the thing whenever I was looking into medical when I first started it is I wanted to, when I first learned how the injuries work, basically, and I found something and it said impact is the thing. And I looked up what impact is, and that's basically bullet velocity. So depending on how hard you get hit in a certain area is going to decide that first injury, because when you get an injury, obviously, once you start taking more damage to the area, then you're just going to go past the tiers. But depending on what hit you first before you get that injury is going to decide if you get to like a 2 automatically or 1 automatically.
Wow.
Okay.
And there's some guns out there that automatically do like a tier injury right off the bat if they hit you right?
Yeah, there's like, if 1 bullet can give you an injury, it might take 4 bullets to give you an injury.
Okay, so it's not like a set parameter. It can vary. It's, I guess, like RNG or something like that.
Yeah, the thing I found is the further you are away, the less the impact. Because you got to think, when the bullet travels, it loses its speed, so that downs the impact factor. So basically,
that makes sense.
You won't get an injury. Because like when we did testing, I got shot by a sniper rifle, and I didn't get a tear injury, and that was like from very far away. But when they got a little bit more closer, they were still far out. But when they got a little bit more closer, then it gave me an injury.
That is cool.
Yeah,
that is
so
really cool.
so actual oh my god, I'm having a brain fart again. This is ridiculous. Distance traveled does make a difference, and that could definitely save you in the long run.
Yeah, that is cool.
Right. That's interesting enough. As far as what would be, I guess, kind of staying on that medical gameplay wise, with seeing it as how much we have in game compared to what could possibly come in, what would be some of those things as far as support medical wise that you kind of want to see in that?
What I kind of want, well, for me, what I want to see, at least in the game, is really just I mean, I know we have like the med gun and stuff like that, but I would like to see at least 1 more medical gadget, and maybe if they do add more medical gameplay, say, because what is it? The way I would want to see it was the injury system be like completely hidden, so you don't know what it is. So there could be like a new gadget that you have to use in order to detect what injury you got.
Okay. Something kind of like a tricorder Star Trek wise or something like that.
Yeah, like medical gameplay for me, at least in my eyes, is really basic right now, and I would like it to be a little bit more advanced. So it's not like, oh, I take a red pen, or oh, I take my med gun and I just point it on my wrist and I'm good.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, no, that's good. That makes sense.
It would be nice to be a little bit more deep than what it is right now.
Yeah, I agree.
Because I mean, like some of the other systems, like I'm not gonna say cargo, but like mining is pretty well in depth as it is, and salvage is kind of getting there. Yeah. So
yeah.
OG, ask a couple of these questions here as well.
Okay, dope. Crow, what was one of your most memorable moments as being a medic for us as an org?
For being in the org?
Yeah, so like what's a scenario, let's say someone got hurt or I fell off a cliff. You know, normal things that I do.
Or anybody else for that matter.
Or anybody else. What's one of your more memorable moments? What's one that just really sticks out to you that you just like really enjoy going to do or had a blast doing?
For me, at least, when I was in the org, this was when I was still like showing medical prowess and stuff, and it was funny.
Yeah.
We were, I think it was one of those bounty missions, but it was in like a cave, and stuff
Uh-huh.
like that, where they go into a cave and kill the damn people. But
Yeah,
when we
yeah.
went in there, went to heal somebody, and as soon as I healed them, they woke back up. They flew to the entrance of the cave.
What?
Yeah. So I don't know what happened. So they went down. So they got like obliterated, just straight headshot, like insta cap. And I was
No.
like, oh, cover me. I'm gonna heal them. And then I went to go heal them, and then they just all of a sudden, as soon as they wake back up, they just get popped to the back of the entrance of the cave.
Yeah.
Like it was like some incredible rubber band or something.
Wow. I would have
That's
enjoyed that,
hilarious.
especially if I was like way down in the cave.
Right? Like, thank God.
It's like, oh man, I don't have to mess with this now. What So speaking of like going down and stuff like that, like we right now as it stands with Star Citizen, we do like we go down, it's no big deal, we respawn and everything like that, but I know CIG in the past has talked about things of Death of a Spaceman, and basically for those of you that are watching or listening who don't know what that is, Death of a Spaceman is basically when you die in the game, your DNA structure, I guess, however you really want to say it, degrades over each respawn, and you eventually get to a point to where you can't respawn, and you basically make an entirely new character. And as far as it was explained to me, is that all your stuff would be ported over to that new character as like inheritance or whatever, right? So Crow,
Crazy.
hearing that, right? Like what is your opinion on Death of a Spaceman? Like for it, against it, like things you want to see changed or what?
I do like the risk factor in it.
Yeah.
For it. I do really like the risk factor because, they have medical beacons in the game, and you can either just easily backspace and just go pick up your stuff. But with that risk factor, I mean, it enables it to be used more. For me, at least, the Death of Spaceman. For that, I would add to it. To be honest, I feel like it's something that you degrade over time. For me, I would feel like if there was permanent injuries to you, because I actually like you die, but you still wake up with an injury, like it's something like permanent, but you have to get it like fixed somewhere and stuff like that. It's something like, oh, I got killed, I'll just backspace and then I'll be fine. I got killed again, backspace and I'll be fine. But you wake up with a tier 3 injury, and the more you do it, the more severe the injuries are going to get that you wake up with.
Yeah.
So more like it would kind of base it on like a psychological damage.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I can see how that is because like lore wise, like that is the reason why, even though we have the regeneration chambers or whatever, it psychologically affects us each time we die and basically clone ourselves is the idea of it. So that, yeah, I mean, that kind of does make sense now that you put it that way.
Yeah.
So that I could see that going on.
Something else is, of course, this is just off the wall what
Right.
I've got. So you're talking about the Death of the Spaceman, right? And the DNA stuff and this, that, and the other. So let's say you've been running this character for 6 months, right? But you have had hundreds of leg injuries or back injuries, things in that nature. What if once you respawn, and then the heritage part of things, if some of the small minor injuries that you had previously carried over? Like, let's say you punctured your lungs multiple times of your previous character, right? Well, then with your new character, you have a small, like a stage 1 asthma, so your stamina regen is slower.
Oh, now you're
Things
talking
like
about
that.
diseases.
Yeah. Like, I mean, it's crazy to think about, though, right?
You
I mean,
wanna
that
get
would be
that in depth.
That would be nuts. I mean, we're getting in depth with the gun side of things, with
Yeah.
the cleaning and things like that.
Right.
So, I mean, Go all in. You know?
Yeah. No. What do you
Yeah,
think, bro?
I like that. I like that a lot.
Yeah.
As I really do and stuff. Another thing I could add was let's see, what was it? I also went brain dead.
Yeah.
We all
Another
do it.
thing I would like to see as well is so obviously when you die you obviously respawn in a medical bed. So what I
Yeah.
just said is probably absolutely worthless. You could probably just heal it right there and then, but I
Yeah.
thought, because I just thought this on the top of my head. I was like, what if when you die and you die too many times, based on where you keep dying,
Mm.
basically is out of nowhere you something like I like to call a delayed injury, and that's basically when you take the damage but something is in your system still, like a drug is still in your system and you're not going to get that injury yet.
Yeah.
What if it's like it just doesn't tell you when, it doesn't tell you why, it just at random you're just going to get an injury.
So basically, you're talking about like almost like a simulation of like PTSD or something like that,
Yeah.
because you've been to that or been
Yeah.
in that situation. Is that basically like what you're saying? Is that what I'm
Yeah,
gathering?
kind of. It's like
That
you
would
just
Interesting.
You just get
Yeah.
like shot in the leg multiple times, and you're like, "Oh, I'll be fine." You walk off, and like halfway through your ship or whatever you're doing, you just all of a sudden collapse on the floor to a leg injury.
Yeah.
See,
Or something
like-
else.
Like, to kind of expand on that, OG and Crow, like you're talking about how like you were to get hurt in like a certain, let's just say leg, for instance, because we were just talking about that. It's healed, and like nothing, like technically, air quotes there, is wrong with you, but your character now walks with a slight limp,
Yeah.
not
yeah.
like a full limp, like when you're
not
injured.
like a
but
full
like
injury, but a partial injury.
like you're not hurt. You're like there's your F1 status is blue. Like you don't have anything showing up. Like I don't know. Like I really think that would take a lot of tech to implement.
It would.
But
It would.
I think that would be
It's-
cool as all get out, because like when you hurt yourself like really badly, like especially like in a leg or in the arm or something like that, you're gonna lose partial functionality to it.
Yes.
And I think something like that would be awesome.
Yeah, nice little
dog.
permanent damage.
Yeah. Another scenario that I had in my head. So, imagine, say, hey, we've, like me and Vintage, we're talking about doing this expedition thing.
Right.
We're going to run bunkers, right? Both of us have taken shots and have been shot by a weapon, right?
Mm-hmm.
But we do not go to a medical bed to treat ourselves because we didn't have a tier injury,
Okay.
right? But within 24 hours, logging out the ship, bed logging, coming back, we wake up back on the ship, and then we have lead poisoning from the bullet wound, right?
Oh.
That would be cool.
You talking about really getting into it, ain't you?
I mean, this is Star Citizen. Why not? These are
You
things
really
I
want
can pray
somebody to
for.
So okay,
And I want
so,
Crow to suffer.
right, really get his medical gameplay in there. But I really do like those. Those are awesome, and if those were to be implemented, I think that would be great. But
I think it would too.
on a more, I guess, other note, like I really think that they're going to be limited by tech. Like they've overcome a lot of hurdles, don't get me wrong,
Yeah.
and I'm not saying that it's impossible, because they were told for a lot of things that they want to do with this game that it's already impossible, and they've accomplished a lot so far, and have downed the naysayers there. So I'm not going to say that it's not impossible, but I mean, that you talking about some tech.
It's
man.
crazy. That's just all out the brain, man. That's just how it works sometimes.
I get it.
Heck yeah. Crow, what are your thoughts of the cybernetics we could possibly get one day?
Oh Lord, cybernetics. That's
Yeah.
a whole new like ball field,
Come out
especially
here like
for a
Optimus
medical
Prime.
gameplay.
Yeah.
Like first, obviously, like amputation would need to be a thing.
See, I was thinking about that. Like, how far would they go? Would they like let you perform the surgery?
That would be nuts.
See, that's the thing. I'm hoping they allow, like, because that's what I think would spice up the gameplay more. Is they, instead of like, like I said, the red pen and then you're done, you have to actually get somebody to put you on the medical bed and actually operate on you to even fix an injury. Just like, say, with your cybernetics, say, like, they have to, take a limb off and replace it with a certain cybernetic. Like, I would say it's not something bad, per se. I would say it may have to, like, oh, you get this attribute, but now you got this that's gonna negatively affect you.
You're
gonna have to do a pro and a con kind of thing. Yeah,
you get your right arm replaced. You can only receive tier 2 injuries with a shotgun up close, but you have swing movement when you're aiming down sights with your rifle. Things like that.
I feel like it would actually, because at least I like that, at least with how the medical system works right now with an injury. When you take an injury, you lose percentage of your maximum HP because that limb is now damaged. And I would think you would sacrifice your limb for a cybernetic, which would give you just buffs, but at the cost of your maximum HP, because that's no longer technically part of your body. That's just that's just a limb. So, like, if it gets damaged, your body's not taking damage. If it's just your robotic arm taking damage, it's just, oh, your cybernetic arm is now broken.
What about that motherfucker?
To add to that, though, like, okay, so your overall HP it would still be 100, right? But let's just say, so your limb is worth, I don't know, 15 to 20% of your HP. Let's just for sake of argument, right? We're gonna theory craft a little bit here. So your cybernetic, though, now so we're gonna say 20%, right? So your overall pool of red HP is 80%, but now you have an additional green 20%. That equals 100. And if that limb gets damaged, it doesn't affect your overall HP of 80, but only affects the 20, and you have to go back and get that repaired or whatever. Because we talked about this like can I talk? An episode or two ago of how they were going to introduce at some point like weapon cleaning and degrading, and they've talked about like doing like armor getting dirty and stuff like that. Like, what would stop them from doing that with the cybernetic limbs?
Exactly. But I will say that I'm going to be terrified if this does become a thing, because Crow is going to ask me to be his guinea pig. I'm already feeling it. Hey, OG, I need to amputate your arm real quick, man. Come up here and lay in the bed. Yeah, OG, you have a pistol to you. You will lay in that bed. I will have that arm. It's gonna go from Crow to the Mad Doctor.
I'm down.
I think it would be really cool. I think it'd be a different kind of aspect to the game. Then of course you're gonna have your looks about it. I mean, there's something cool, dude, coming down the elevator with 2 robotic arms, holding rail guns.
Right. What ship are you gonna be using for all this when medical gameplay kind of takes off? Like, what would you want to see?
You already know my answer to that. If it ever does come out, it's the damn Apollo.
Bro,
right now, I've been like a mixture between the Pisces and the Cutlass Red. They're both nice ships, right, and stuff like that. I love the interior of the Pisces, but I just hate that it's so small, and I hate the interior of the Cutlass Red, but I love the size of the facility of it. So, like, when the Apollo, when I saw it, I was like, it has both. It actually looks like you're not about to get your liver chopped off, like the Cutlass Red, and it's not too small, and it looks like the Pisces, so it's like, it actually looks nice.
So, you're not interested in the Galaxy with the med module at all?
For me at least, being like, I would say team play, that would be nice.
Right.
For team play.
Yeah.
I would get the Galaxy module for medical. But as it just stands, if you're just solo medicing or you just have like a buddy with you, I would just do Apollo. But no, I'm definitely not tossing out the Galaxy because that's a nice looking module. I mean, at least from the concept art, it looks nice.
I think it's going to be
like
pretty
a
cool.
mini hospital or whatever.
Yeah.
The I think it was when the Polaris concept, when it came out and stuff like that, and obviously they're almost done with that thing. I looked at it and I asked the person that owned it. I'm like, dude, when you get that ship, when it's flyable, I need to see it, because the hangar bay section of the Polaris, right to the left of it, is the medical facility. It's in the back with the hangar. So I'm like, I was like, that is a really good placement. I mean,
Yeah.
there is a medical bay where the hangar is, and that's nice, because like, so what?
Are you thinking about getting the Polaris?
I'm not gonna say it's a guarantee, but I do like the placement, so it's on a maybe. It's on a maybe, because I fly the Carrack. You know me, I fly the Carrack around, and it's got a hangar, but it's on the 4th floor, so you gotta take an extra like elevator to go down to the medical. So I'm like, dude, I'm liking the fact that the medical bay is attached to the hangar, like, cause that's easy access right there.
So, not to step backwards, but the Galaxy has a medical lift inside the medical facilities, right?
I did not know that. No.
It is basically like, I'm not going to say the size for a vehicle, but it is able to drop down and pick up your people and bring them right into the medical facility.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
Yeah, that's one of the things. So
that's roasted. Okay, buy the Galaxy.
Well, how did I know that? I mean,
and it's got a hanger in the back. You can still fit the Pisces C8R.
Yeah, there is that. That is nice.
So I mean, I'm just letting you know, and it's still made by RSI, just like the Apollo. So
yeah, it is.
What about what is it? It's the one that's got like those 19 different modules or whatever, but one of them's like a full-on hospital.
Is it the Endeavor?
Maybe.
Is it like that big one with like the big like domes that you could have, or like the?
That's the Endeavor. Yep.
Yeah, I did heavy like deep dive into that one, because I was like, bruh, this is a whole like hospital. This ain't no damn medical clinic. This is a whole hospital in that thing. What in the world?
Crow said, if I get that, I'll have to be an anesthesiologist, a doctor.
I looked at the little brochure online, and it's just like you got 4 floors of nothing but medical. It's got like its own patient rooms, its own medical beds and stuff in certain rooms. I'm like, damn, that's so much.
Right, but the reason. Okay, so we're gonna go a little bit more of a deep dive into this and go off the rails a little bit. Y'all ready?
Yeah.
All right. So, in future gameplay, right, we're supposed to have more systems at some point. We don't even have the second one yet, but that's beside the point. Okay, so let's just say we have more systems out, and for whatever system amount you want to use it, right? But you're out there in the black, and there's not really a medical facility around, nor there is a respawn point, and you have like this gigantic org. Like, wouldn't that be like? I mean, what I'm getting at, it does serve a very niche purpose, but I think it would be cool, especially like if you had somebody with the Endeavor that had, the habitation or like the domes for your food growth, and you had the medical facilities and then whatever else, because I think you can only fit 3 at a time. I could be wrong. Don't quote me. I don't know much about it, but I know it's one of those things. Like, wouldn't that be interesting to you to use as kind of like a full-on support vehicle, because like that's your gameplay style?
Yeah, that would be nice, especially because like if you're just the only one out there with a medical unit, like it would be useful. Like it's like that one ship that's not medical. What is it called? The Merchantman, I think it was.
The Banu Merchant.
How that one, that's designed to be like a market.
Yeah.
Anybody can land, come inside of it, and shop, just like the Endeavor's hospital unit could be used for. Someone just flies next to it, go in and heal or set their spawn, because they know that that's going to be on the server for a long time, so they could use that as like a medical unit, just as long as it's not in. Just don't bring it to Pyro.
Yeah, just don't bring it to Pyro. It's gonna get blown up quick.
Oh
Man,
Lord.
oh dude. Speaking of Pyro, you are a new player, and if a new player was listening to this and you were to give them the first and medical gameplay was their niche, what would be some of the advice that you would offer to that new medical player in this game? Like they have experience, right, in other support class roles, so they're not like a complete and total new person to the gameplay style. But what would be like some of that advice you would offer to them?
For me, at least for me at least the advice I would offer is God that heart rate. Always check the heart rate, dude, because
Really?
that's like the biggest factor. That's not just your stamina bar. That is also like your factor of if you can even walk back to your ship.
Really?
Yeah. So what I recently found out, at least, there's something like I call the heart attack, which is your health bar, or at least you've taken so much damage to your limbs that it's now affecting your heart rate. So usually I like to do the standstill test. That's what I like to call it. Is I want you to stand still and I don't want you to do anything. If your heart rate starts bumping like 80 to 90 and you're not even doing anything, then that's when I tell us like, oh yeah, you got a severe injury there. And yeah, when they start sprinting and stuff, and I see them start slowing down, because whenever you sprint, your heart rate goes all the way up, like 120, 130. You notice that your character starts slowing down, and then eventually it comes to a complete stop. If you push it past that complete stop, and you got that severe injury, you're gonna collapse on the floor and get re-incapped. That's why I call it the heart attack, because if you push yourself with injuries and you go past that threshold on the heart rate, you're just gonna die. You're just gonna fall on the ground again.
Speaking of which, that almost reminds me, like, didn't you you said something I want to say is above the heart rate, like it had pluses?
Yeah, so I call it heart rate bars. At least that's what I call it.
Right.
And what it does is it's like spikes. So when you notice that when you look at your heart rate, it goes from like 58 to 60 to 58 to 60. It has those little tiny little spikes. It doesn't go like 58, 59, 60. It goes in little spikes.
Yeah.
So I call them little spike bars. I call them spike bars. You can have up to 3 of them. So depending on how many bars you have above the health rate, the heart rate, is how big the spike is going to be. So you could be injured and you could just go from, oh, I'm at 60 to boom, 80 out of nowhere. Or you can go from 60 and all of a sudden, boom, you're at 95. I did testing on it at least a little bit more in depth one night, and I don't know how you get them. They're mostly random. They're still looking into it, but all I know is they only do it when you take a injury, when you take damage. So
that is cool.
Maybe some of the viewers or listeners will comment on that and shine a little bit more light onto it.
Yeah,
hopefully.
yeah.
Listen,
I will. Go ahead.
I looked it up. Like, I spent one night. Everybody went to bed. I spent up in my bed, dude. I looked in everywhere, Reddit, the forums. I tried to find something, and I just couldn't find anything. Like, the only thing I could find was the relation of a heart attack, and that was it. So that's why I called it.
A whole lot of info out there on it. Okay.
Yeah. So that's.
But I will say, bro, I have not come in contact with many medics, but I will say you knock it out of the park for everything that you do for us as an org.
Yeah.
I mean, dude, there has been times where I've been in a cave. Here, Crow jumps in the chat. Hey, Crow, what you up to? Oh, nothing much, man. Just got on. So, hey, I'm kind of encapped in this cave over here. architect.
He's done that for me a couple of times too.
Think you gonna help me out? He's like, yeah, I'll be there in a minute. But on a serious note, Crow, man, you've completely knocked it out of the park. I have learned an absolute metric ton as far as medical gameplay that I would have never learned if I wouldn't have
Somebody
you
who actually
teach us.
took the time. Yeah.
Yes. I mean, all the testing you've done, it's crazy. And,
I'll let you continue.
I don't know. I was coming to a close.
Yeah. I mean, you should have heard Vintage like the first day when I first like got in the Ori. I said, yeah, if you take the orange pen, you won't get an injury. And I literally saw him get magged up, and he's like, I don't got an injury.
Yeah, dude. Okay. So when I first started playing, like the only thing that I would carry around me were the red pens. I was like, oh, this is health. Okay, that's all I need. I didn't know what I was like, okay, these are cool. Like, what do they do? And it's like, oh, in case you have muscle fatigue or something. I'm like, yeah, whatever. That's not a thing. So I would just went on, and like I would die, I would get shot in bunkers, like whatever, the case was. And then when he came in and explained, like, no, each one of these pins and each one of these drugs that are in the game are actually legitimate and they help with different things that you may or may not actually accrue during the thing. And it really opened my eyes to how in-depth the actual medical gameplay was. And when Crow joined the org, I was already playing for like a year or whatever, and nobody had said otherwise.
Yeah.
So I'm like,
exactly.
I ain't got a clue.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, I would have never known how in-depth the medical side of Star Citizen goes without Crow.
And this
would have never figured it out.
I think what are we on, like tier 0 still, or is it tier 1? Do you know, Crow?
I think it's still tier 0 because the only thing they really updated recently was the Paramed, and I think that was it. So, they never really updated the systems like injury wise.
So there's a possibility that we're going to get more involved and even more in-depth medical gameplay if they decide to up the tiers too. And going back to the plus things over the heart rate, there was another thing that made me think too. Like, I mean, this is somewhat medical related, but I mean, it also goes over your hunger and thirst bars as well. Like I've noticed, we were talking about this the other night. You were talking about the 3 bars over that, and those are like chances for like buffs and debuffs or something like that.
Yeah. So when you look at a piece of food in Star Citizen, in your inventory, you highlight over it, and you're gonna see the name and how much it refills of each, but you're gonna see the effects. And you're gonna be like, well, what in the world is this hypro, whatever, this stuff? It's gonna look like some fancy words and stuff.
Yeah,
but
big words for Elmo.
But yeah, those are either debuffs or buffs. And there's a percentage chance when you refill, you can only get them when you're hungry or you're losing thirst. You can't just, oh, I'm not hungry or thirsty, but I'm just gonna drink it and get it. No, you can't do that. You actually have to wait till you're hungry or thirsty to get the chance of getting one of those buffs or debuffs. So for the buffs, they could range from you don't go hungry sooner, you don't go thirsty sooner. I found this out and it's crazy. I actually tested it. I found a fruit that actually protected me from the elements a bit more, and I actually was able to walk around in a normal suit on that Hurston moon that's usually hot.
Really?
Yeah, I thought the effect. I thought it was gonna be, I thought it was gonna be like weak. It's probably like, oh, it's gonna be like 5%, but no, it's a pretty good buff. I mean,
what fruit was this?
I can't remember. I really can't remember, but it was one that you find commonly in the little like aid shelters and stuff.
Is it the blue one or the yellow one? Are we talking about that kind of fruit, or are we talking about like a different?
No, I know which two you're talking about. No, it's not any of those. I think it's only found in caves. I don't know, actually. I just can't remember. I found it on a dead body in a bunker, and I noticed it had that effect. It said the effect for the thing. And I just like, oh, let's give it a shot.
Okay.
Bro, And I will say, Crow, I think you've come a very long way because I do remember this vividly when you first joined the org, not the erg, but the org. um, I remember. I think Vintage was telling me he's like, yeah, he's like, got a new guy joined up. He's pretty cool, but he doesn't shoot anybody. I was like, huh?
Hacksaw Ridge.
I was like, huh? He's like, no, he don't dogfight. He doesn't run bunkers. Nothing. No. Well, more power to him. It's cool. This, that, and the other. And now, Crow,
corrupted him.
you've evolved. For anyone who ever comes in contact with Crow in game, be aware. He don't play no games. He has a grenade launcher on his backpack at all times. As our medic. Let me rephrase that. Let me say it one more again. As our medic, he has a grenade launcher on him at all times. Have never seen him without one.
Hey, man.
So, just give you a little golfer's clap. Very
Golfer's
proud
clap.
of you. You've come a long way. And, man, at the end of the day, we do appreciate everything you do for us over there in the org. All the guys do.
Absolutely.
We're glad to have you here. We're glad to have you on the cast today. But with that being said, I got something special to tell you guys.
Is it the Florida man?
It's Florida man.
Oh,
Daggone Florida man.
You're going to like
man.
this, Crow.
All right, so June 16th of 2020, Florida man bitten in the face by alligator while playing disc golf. And 90% of the Florida man incidents that we have here in Florida are from the alligators. If you're letting them drink your beer, feeding them, or throwing them through Wendy's drive-thrus, or getting bit in the face with them while you're playing golf, it happens, all right? This is Florida we're talking about. Travis Spitzer, age 40, was waist deep in a lake in Largo, looking for his frisbee when the gator grabbed him by the face and tried to pull him into the water. He broke free and bolted safely, but was hospitalized with gashes on his head. I don't know why. When you were at a golf course, right? Everyone has seen the videos of big old
South
gators.
Florida.
In South Florida. Everyone has seen the videos of big old gators living in the ponds and golf courses. This ain't even a golf course. This is a frisbee disc golf place. I don't know if they're the same thing. Couldn't tell you. But I do know, I don't know why, ain't no frisbee worth getting in water for. Let it drown.
Drown.
Let it drown.
What I'm surprised about though on that is that he
got away.
Got away, yeah, like
got away.
Wow.
I mean, I think a gator has got, I think it's got like 2,000 per pound or PSI of bite force or something like that.
Yeah.
I mean, that's crazy. And he bit him in the face.
Of all places.
Of all places. I mean, not of all places. Could have been one place that would have been a lot worse.
Right.
Wouldn't call him Travis no more. But
I'm gonna let that one go, but anyway.
Call him Trish.
But oh my god.
Wow.
But everyone, we appreciate it. If you like this video and like this content, like, subscribe. We greatly appreciate it. Leave comments down below. And don't forget, all our socials are down in the video descriptions. We appreciate it. Y'all have a good one. 07 Citizens.
See you guys.
Yeah.